Alright guys, I just wanted to walk through a little bit what I've been thinking about with my jacks. I think I've said in a previous episode that I don't have a welder and I don't really want to go find one or pay someone to. So I was trying to figure out ways to get my jacks on without welding because I need to weld. They stick out quite a lot. There's an example of one. So even if I had it in the middle, it would be way over on this side. So I bought these. There you go. And they're pretty heavy duty. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. So what I decided to do was I'm actually going to put it on like so. I'm going to drill 3 holes into my frame. And then from there, attach it to my plate. I have bolts that are going to work for it. Let's see if I can find them. That are going to work through it. So I'm going to stick it through like so, and then bolt it to the other side so that my metal plate stays on. Oh yeah, that's plenty. But I've been struggling with finding a good placement for my jacks. You know, I'd initially like to have them as far back and as far forward as possible, but that can't work out because I have this lip right here on my trailer that sticks out. So if I try to put my jack in like on this part and this part, I can't because this sticks out. And then I've got this funky like triangle part right there, which might have been for the old jacks, I'm not entirely sure. But this is the lowest point on my trailer for sure. So I didn't want to put my jacks behind it. Well, first I can't because of that. So then it's got to be in front of it. And I didn't want it super in front because then it's not going to stabilize the back like I wanted it. So I wanted to find a good spot for it. And then I was thinking about how far out this is going to be. You can see edge of my bumper to my edge of my camper is like somewhere in there. And once I had my jack in the middle, like where it's supposed to be, when it was collapsed, I was sticking out a little bit. So from there, I figured out that I had to make sure that my jacks were all the way as far to inside the camper as I could, so that when they are collapsed like this, I am not over on my bumper. And I just kind of figured that out with some extra wire, tied it to the end there, and then stretched it like here. And then, as you can see, I'm like right on the line of it being good. And that's with it all the way to the inside of the trailer as it can be. So that means that my metal plates are only going to be on the inside because the outside there's nothing there. And I definitely need those metal plates because as of right now, only 2 of those screw holes are hitting my frame. As you can see here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that are missing my frame. So this metal piece is going to be very important for me. But like I said, I wanted it as far back as possible. And right in this area is where my black water tank is. So I couldn't do it on the inside of my tank because I'm pushing it all the way over there. And I didn't want my metal plates to be in the way of my black tank in there. And then I thought, what a great idea. I can use the bolts from my black water rail, I guess, and go ahead and put it on the inside of one of my holes, so that instead of using a plate on the right inside, I am just going to use this bolt and put it in one of my holes, like so. And then on this side, the left back side, I guess, I still am going to use a plate for right here. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I just struggled with it for probably 30 minutes off camera. so that I could talk through my process a little bit. But now we will start on making sure my bolts are where they need to be, pre-drilling holes, piloting holes, putting my bolts in, all sorts of things. So stay tuned. The inside of my camper on the driver's side, and as you can see, I have 4 holes that are not technically hitting my frame, which is why we're doing this. And I'm just going to slide it over as much as I can. I've got this beam right here that's kind of stopping me, but I think it'll be okay. And I think I'm good to go. My black water tank is in. I'm screwed in here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before I start drilling into my frame. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I got 3-inch ones now instead of 6-inch, which should be much better. Then I have nylon locked nuts, which helps from loosening from vibrations. 1/4 inch in 20, which is the coarse thread. And I also have split lock washers to add a little bit of tension so that it doesn't move anywhere. Okay, let's put it on. Okay, now the directions say to use a 1/8 pilot hole and then use 11/32 drill, which they gave me, and then use the socket, which is 9/16, and huge screws. I don't know how it's going to work with my little piece of metal here, but first things first, pilot holes, 1/8. Y'all, I just read something in these directions that irks me so bad. So, in step 5, bolting, it says, use 1/8 bit to do the pilot hole, optional. Use the 11 3/2 drill bit, which they gave to us, to drill the final finishing holes. Next one, replace the jack Use a 9/16 socket and match and attach the scissor jacks to the frame using 4 self-tapping 3x8 by 1 screws. So that means all of the holes on here don't have to be filled with screws. They only want 4 per jack. Okay, now we're on the front of the trailer, and I'm trying to do my driver's side stabilizer jack. And the problem I'm running into is I can't fit my drill inside this brace here. As you can see with this, it is just way too tight. There's no way I'm going to be able to bolt my plate down to the frame. So I'm going to sleep on it, figure out what I want to do. I mean, the directions do say as long as I have 2 bolts in it, it should be secure, but the picture also has the whole brace, I don't know what you would call it, underside, on a frame. So, yes, the directions say that, but I don't trust it because I don't have it all on it. That side is the exact same way. So, like I said, I'm going to sleep on it, try to figure out what I want to do. And in the meantime, we are going to switch positions and topics. So I put a little piece of wood here because I can't figure out, other than, the flooring, I guess, holding the black tank where it is, or the gray tank for that matter. As you can see, there's like 9 inches of slide room for the tank to move. And like I said, I know that the floor, technically, like the toilet will be here, and this will be the vent. We'll keep it pretty much there. But in the meantime, I'm putting this little block of wood here, and it's pretty tight on there, and I might just leave it, honestly. I'm leaving this off because I want to get to the bolt if need be. So I put that little piece there. I will probably put another piece here, but I can't figure out exactly where I want my gray tank. I mean, I could have this much room, or I could slide it on over. I mean, it really doesn't matter as long as I'm out of the way of the propane, which leads me to a good point. If you want to see how I did propane, click up here, hopefully, if I put it and remember it. As long as I'm out of the way of the propane, I don't think it really matters. This will be the kitchen sink, I believe. Maybe right above it, maybe not, I'm not sure. And this is all bathroom things. So the sink and the shower will run into that. So maybe I'll slide it on over because the bathtub is going to be over here and the sink will be right there. So maybe I'll have it running down here. So maybe I'll slide it on over. Not sure. But right now I'm going to talk about finishing up my sensors. So I used, what did I use? Not super glue, liquid nail, thank you, to put on my control sensor, I guess. But I still have some wires that are not on, mainly the directions call this the power wire, which is a little bit misleading because it is the power, but it's also not the power. This wire is going all the way to my control center, which will be, imagine the wall is done by my entrance to the camper. So I need this wire to technically run all the way through either my framing or my flooring, maybe through my ceiling or across, I'm not sure, to my control panel way over there. So this little wire is going to be traveling quite a distance. And so will the power of this wire. These are 2 separate wires because the control panel, let's bring that out real quick. The control panel has all these on the back. And each of these colored wires actually correlates to a certain system. So battery has a wire going to the battery. Zoom in a bit. Oh, focus. Not focusing. Sorry, y'all. Fresh tank. Whichever wire is connecting to the fresh tank is going to be the one that's connecting to my fresh tank, the power wire over there. And the black tank, same with black tank. So they are not the same system. There's directions on this somewhere. Oh, here we go. Which I will go through once I'm ready for this. But in the meantime, I am just going to connect some extra wire I have laying around. I believe it's 16 or 18 gauge, so it's pretty small. It looks the same gauge as this, and it's actually bonded, which means together. And I split it right here, just tore them apart, because my green is going to my power of here, and then my brown is going to my power on here, and then both of these are going to wind their way up into my control panel, which will be over there somewhere. So I'm just going to connect those together and let you guys see my new tool. The new tool I got, which I should have gotten way long time ago, I started our breaks, I should have gotten this tool, is the Klein Tools Wire Stripper Cutter. It goes all the way from 8 to 20 gauge, which is great because my trailer brakes, I believe, are only 10 or 12 gauge. I think 10. In this tool, it has the gauge here, and it works by having a stopper or a puller or parter, I don't know, and then the stripper part. So what you'll do, let me find my wire. This is the other end of my wire, is you stick it into the gauge you want. So like I said, I believe this is 16, so I'm putting in the 16. Okay, and all you do is just clamp, or like squeeze. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's literally perfect. Not too big, not too small. Let's do the other one. Okay, put it into the 16, and then pull. Oh, that's small. Let's do it again. Like, what? That's crazy. I can go even more if I want. Oh my gosh. I am so mad I didn't find this earlier. Because I was doing it with my little wire strippers and like trying to, it's just so dumb. This is life-changing. Get it. It's, I think, 20 bucks, but worth way more than that. We're going to move on to how to heat shrink and connect wires. So like I said, brown, I'm going to connect it with my power over here. So I've got weatherproof heat shrink. I love this stuff. You can use butt caps, but I don't think it's nearly as secure. And this is technically weatherproof because of the inside that goes south. I think it's silicone. This is 16, nope, sorry. Oh yeah, 22 to 16 gauge. So that's perfect for this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger with my new tool. I love this thing. Can't even get enough of it. Like, oh gosh. So perfect. That's amazing. Okay, I'm just twisting the end a little bit. Okay, stick one in. And then stick my other end in. Okay, and I can feel them kind of meet in the middle. Then I take my crimper, which will be the top part, and red is 22 to 18, so that's the one we're going to be using. And I'm going to crimp the middle of it. Make sure my wires stay in where I want them. Sometimes I find it easier to crimp when I already have one wire in and just do that side of the wire. So I've got my bread here. I'm just going to crimp on this side of it, like so. That way I know that my wire is going to stay where I need it. And then I'm going to take it and crimp this other side. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to crimp this side. And this time I'm going to make sure that it's all crimped. Okay. Little tug. They're in there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my heat gun, plug it in. And I want to heat this up until I can see like the silicone part comes out, and that's what makes it weatherproof sealed. If you want to see this with a bigger wire, check out my trailer brake videos. I go through how to do this also, but with a bigger wire, and with 2 wires going into one side of this heat shrink. Alright, so this is the dry fit for the gray water, black water junction. And the problem I'm having, so I had to cut off what was there already. So I joined it with a little coupling kind of thing right there. The problem I'm having with this is the level. I know you guys probably can't see this, but my low point is here instead of here. And if I were to raise this corner up, I think the low point would be right there. So I'm just gonna kind of figure out what to do with that. I don't know. Part of me is like, there's gonna be so much water in here when I empty it that it's just gonna come out even if there is a high point, but I don't want to risk that or have water sitting there. So we'll probably mess around with it. I don't know. But I love where the black water tank is coming out. I mean, if this is my edge of my camper, that means I'm reaching under just a little bit to open this. And this one's going to be super easy to open. So yeah, there we go. What do you guys think? Okay guys, we are at my freshwater tank. And as I think I talked about in another part, I'll have to see. I actually bought another tank because this one is the old one and I didn't like all these holes. Oh, excuse me. So, I talked about these holes before, but I'm going to talk about them again because I have finally decided what I wanted to do. The wires. I have absolutely no idea what they were going to, what they're going from. Nada. No idea. But the important part is it's sealed. So I don't really care. I might cut these even shorter just to get them out of my way. This is the vent that is going to go on the outside of the camper and lock into... Ooh, I actually bought it, so let's see it. This. Da-da-da-da. So, this vent black hose will be hooked on to the vent on the outside of the camper, like so. Next holes is, cut that down. This will be the fresh water just fill up. Yeah, so that will be, let's move that, sorry. That will be this hole. I have to return my tubing because it's not big enough. But that will go from here and also go to the outside like so. Zoom out. Zoom out. This third hole, I have absolutely no idea what it was. I just looked back at my old videos, trying to figure out what I could see, and I will keep doing more research to figure out. But what I saw in my old videos is I had like a green and blue freshwater fill. This is actually the original vent. I have not done anything with that. And I don't even remember what was here. I think it was maybe even capped off, or I'm not sure. And I can't imagine what it is either, because the city water fill up, which is this side, is pressurized and it goes into the lines by the pump, not anywhere close to the tank. Well, I mean, kind of close to the tank. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. So the city water is, or the pressured city water goes into like where the pump lines will be. Does not go into the tank. The pump itself has to have water at the end of the line. So in my previous video, oh, there's a box elder bug. In my previous video, I talked about a sort of contraption where I had this, and I was going to stick little tiny pecks in there, and it's going to be like a straw, and it's going to be enough. And I said that, man, I'm not confident in it. So I bought another freshwater tank. Ended up being a completely different size. I had to return it. It was bad. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that again. This is so specific to the camper and where the freshwater tank will go that I kind of want to just keep it. You know, I kept the other two. I'm going to make it work. And we're going to go from there. So how do I make this into what I want? There is a hole at the bottom, which initially, of course, I'm like, that's the drain. That makes sense why it's the drain. But there's not another hole anywhere. Like, it looks like this could be a potentially another hole, and I think I might make it one. This might become my drain. I have to figure out how to do that because I don't exactly know what I want my connections to be. I mean, it's pretty small. So maybe just like a twist thing on a PEX and just water will just come out. I don't know. But I decided that this bottom is now going to be where my pump is going to get its water. I don't want to mess with trying to get it from the top. I don't know how that's even going to work. So, yeah, I have to fill this hole somehow. I will probably just find I think this is a 3/4, just threaded. Well, this is the female end, so I need to find a 3/4 male end, and then just kind of cap it off. I don't really want to like silicone it or get rid of it because it could potentially be something that I might need. I'm not sure. And then on this side, you see that I already have a brass fitting here. This is, let me double check my measurements before I mistakenly tell you something wrong or tell myself wrong. Let's see. That is half to half elbow pecs. And I think it's going to work great for my pump. The reason I chose brass instead of the vinyl, I think it is because I've been reading that people have been experiencing vibrations, of course, and their barb, I think they're calling this, breaks off, especially right at a very crucial part of the tank system. I want this to be good. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to kind of just mess around with this, and I'll probably cut a piece of, I bought PEX, woohoo! And I'll probably cut a little piece of PEX off and actually start fitting my tank because I'm ready to use my flooring and start putting it down. Oh, I also have to put in my sensors because this is so old that none of my tanks, well, actually that's not true. A couple of my tanks did have sensors, but for some reason, I guess they didn't consider that the freshwater tank might need systems. So I'll do the sensors. I will cut the PEX, and then I'm actually going to put this in and leave it alone. That'll be it. Alright, so I just made little dots on where I'm going to drill for my sensors. This is the only tank that I have that didn't have already pre-hole drills for my sensors. So I kind of measured it out, roughly looked at it. The sensors are supposed to be 10 inches apart from each other, but that is not happening. If you want a more detailed description of what I'm doing, check my other video. I go through it way more detail. Alright, now that my sensors are done, that is gluing with liquid nails. Like I said, watch my video. I'm going to cut a little bit of PVC, or not PVC, sorry, PEX, so that I can connect it to my fitting before I put my fitting in the freshwater tank area. So, I just have this little, I've always used it for sprinklers, but I think I'd be just fine with this too. And I only need less than a foot. So I'm just going to kind of guesstimate, because it doesn't really matter, just as long as I get it straight. Like so. That is a good cut. This piece is really not bendable, so I'd rather work with it now than when it's done. So I've got my next pinch clip. I have 1/2 inch pinch clips, and I have directions. Cut it, slide the pinch clamp over the tubing, and then place the clamp 1/8 from the end of the tubing. Place it in the jaws, ratchet it until it auto releases, and that should be done. So that's what we're going to do. Place this on, and either way, I think
that's fine. Grab that to here. Open it all the way. There's only one opening, so you can't mess it up. It's literally blocked out from either side. So that's like the only thing you can do for it, I guess. Funny. Okay. Put it in. Okay. Well, this might take a little bit. Maybe it would be better if this were already on. Yeah. Oh. That is a workout. Wow. But yeah, that's not going anywhere. Okay, now I know what to expect for pecs. That was my first one. Wow, that is a workout. So, now let's put it on like I was talking about. So, Teflon tape. Almost forgot. I always mess up which way to go. If I'm screwing it in this way, I don't want my edge to go this way, so I actually need to go that way with it. And you use Teflon tape because of the ridges have a tendency to become valleys, and you don't want that when you are laying down any type of juncture print.